Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, the Collector, and for today's video, I'm gonna review the Marvel Legends Mr. Knight from the Moon Knight Disney Plus series. Let's take a closer look at the box. As you can see, there's the Moon Knight logo and the Disney Plus logo, and at the side there's the portrait of Mr. Knight, as you can see, and at the back there's a brief description about Mr. Knight. You can pause it if you want to further read it, and also it shows you the whole line of figures for this Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure wave, and at the top there's the Moon Knight logo. So without further ado, let's proceed. First of all, just to give a brief background about the character, Mr. Knight is the alter ego of Steven Grant, and Steven Grant is the other personality of Mark Spector. Actually, the name Mr. Knight was never mentioned on the Disney Plus TV series, but they just labeled it similar with his comic book counterpart. So first, let's focus on his head sculpt. As you can see, it is a pretty good head sculpt. I think it's movie accurate, especially the scar parts, I think, or the broken parts on his mask. It is also sculpted, and also the moon logo was also sculpted and painted with silver, and his eyes are, his pupils are, I think, painted with blue and white for his irises. I don't know if I've said it right. I didn't memorize the parts of the eye. And for the whole body, I'm just gonna show you briefly. As you can see, if you're familiar with Marvel Legends, this whole body is just a reuse for the suited characters. I think the only original part here is this soft plastic part, since his vest have a very unique pattern, and let's focus on that part. As you can see, the edge of his coat has a very unique details. It was sculpted in there, really good for Hasbro. And even the buttons on his vest, it has some sculpting in there, and it was also painted quite well. And for the rest of the figure, as I've said, this is just a repaint for the suit figure. And also, I wanted to note that I'm glad they didn't miss this part. They've also painted it with silver. And also, the original part with this figure is the shoes or the feet. As you can see, it looks like bandages from the mommy, because Mr. Knight is serving, or he is the host of Khonshu. Now let's focus on his accessory. He came with this baton. I hope my camera can focus on that one. As you can see, there are intrinsic details on this baton. I don't know if you can see it, but there's hieroglyphs on this baton, and it is sculpted on this accessory. As you can see, they painted it with silver, and the edge of the baton, both ends are painted with gold. Moving on with Mr. Knight's accessories, he came with 2 pairs of hands, the closed fist hands, the default hands that was installed on the figure, and a pair of weapon holding hands. He also came with this build-a-figure, the right hand of Ultron, and finally he came with this pair of buttons that's a little bit bent because of the packaging. Moving on with the articulation, Mr. Knight can rotate his head 360 degrees. He can wiggle his head. He can look up by that far and look down that far. His arms can reach to that point. It can rotate 360 degrees. He has a bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow, still has some pins. He can rotate his hands 360 degrees, can move up or down or side to side, I'm sorry, depending on what accessory or alternate hands you're using. He has an ab crunch, but because of this soft plastic part, he can't do that range of motion. He also has a hip swivel that can rotate 360 degrees. He can do the split. There's a tie cut, a double jointed knees with the pinless tech, and an ankle pivot that can also move up by that far and move down that far. Mr. Knight is standing around 6.2 inches tall. Here is Mr. Knight side by side with Moon Knight from the Disney Plus show. Here is Mr. Knight side by side with the Marvel Select Captain America Sam Wilson. And finally, here is Mr. Knight side by side with the Mezco 112 Collective Moon Knight. To end my video, I think the only thing that is good about this figure is that it is the first Mr. Knight action figure that we got from Marvel Legends. I mean, this Mr. Knight figure can fit your comic book lineup of Marvel Legends, because this is very accurate to its comic book counterpart. As I've said a while ago, most of the parts of this action figure are just reuse, and I think there are some angles that Mr. Knight's vest and coat are a little too big for his body, but it's fine for me. I mean, for those who are too OCD, I think they will notice it right away. I'm really glad that Hasbro released both Mr. Knight and Moon Knight on the same wave, and I really wish for season 2 Mr. Knight will get more weapons similar with the Moon Knight action figure. So if you're gonna ask me if this is a worth it action figure, well, it's worth it if you're collecting the Build-A-Figure Ultron, or if you just wanted the Infinity Ultron action figure, you can buy it on eBay. But if you're a completionist, especially on the MCU line, I think you should buy this one. And for those who only wanted one character per TV series, I think you can definitely choose Moon Knight over Mr. Knight, since he has a lot of details and have a better articulation. So guys, please don't forget to click the like and subscribe button and the bell icon, and also Please stay tuned for more toy reviews that I will be releasing, especially the Infinity Ultron Wave. So that's it guys, thank you all for watching, have a good day and take care.